What is going on, all of you ghost catching hunters out there in the world? I'm Mega Amster. Thank you for watching this review video. Whether you are a new or returning viewer, I appreciate you stopping by. And today we're talking about a very, I guess, retro game at this point, right? This is the original Luigi's Mansion that I am reviewing. I know I've never played a Luigi's Mansion game before this. It came to the Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch Online service for GameCube in Halloween 2025, and that is where I got to experience it for the first time. I did a launch stream of it, and then I played through the entirety of it, and I wanted to provide my thoughts here. So I'm gonna, even though this is not a new game, I'm going to continue to do this setup the way I normally do, where I have light to no spoilers at the very beginning. I'll save the spoilers for the end to talk about some of those later moments there, and then wrap up the video. So let's start off with the light to no spoilers as I start off a brand new save file here. If you don't know, Luigi's Mansion was originally a GameCube launch title, launched back in 2001. It's a very interesting game because it was unlike anything that had ever happened before. Luigi really didn't have much of a spotlight before this game. Like, he was always a playable character, but he was like Mario's number 2, right? This time, unless you want to count like Mario's Missing or Mario's Time Machine, any of those games, this time Luigi in a full console game is at the forefront. Essentially what happens is that he apparently wins a mansion in a lottery. Turns out not a really very nice mansion to inherit, but he goes to explore, as you're seeing here, and it's filled with ghosts, all sorts of different ghosts with different personalities. And you know, Luigi is looking for Mario because Mario has once again gone missing. Maybe there's some inspiration from Mario's Missing there. And we have reason to believe that he is somewhere in the mansion. A little guy named Professor Egad helps us out and will actually, he gives us a vacuum called the poltergust to suck up these ghosts and collect them because they have been released and they need to be captured again. And so the whole point of this game is you're going through this mansion, not a huge mansion to be fair, but there's a good amount to explore. But you're going through this mansion and trying to catch all of the ghosts and get them back to where they were and prevent them from coming back out. So it's very much a Halloween game, very much a spooky game. It's not like a horror game. I mean, like, as a kid, maybe there are moments that might frighten you, but it definitely has like some fun, like, spooky moments with like the different ghosts and stuff. As you can see here, we have a flashlight, which can actually be used to stun ghosts. So if the flashlight's on, you can kind of stun a ghost, and that makes it easier to capture, sometimes necessary to capture them. We actually don't have the poltergust yet because I don't think we've reached that specific story sequence to do so. I'm trying to remember how to trigger it. But it is definitely a spooky, haunted mansion that we're inheriting here. Oh no, it's a floating key! A haunted shopping list! I wonder what could be making the key float. Oh, okay, sure. It will not let me skip this, unfortunately. I'm trying my best. But yes, I am playing this via the Nintendo Switch Online, in case any of you were curious, because I never bought it on the original GameCube. I did not grow up with the GameCube, and this is the first time I really got to experience it. You know, I considered picking up Luigi's Mansion 3, which I've heard is also extremely good. And there's also 2 HD on Switch as well, but I figured I would just check out the original here, because now I have the NSO, and I can check out Luigi's Mansion finally. A couple other things to note. Actually, we can't do it yet, I guess, but there is a map that we will get, not yet, but hopefully we should be getting that soon. I just need to get through this little tutorial sequence here, but there's a bunch of different rooms that you'll go through and explore, and Luigi has so much personality. I love the charm in this game is honestly really appealing. There he is. He's got the poltergust ready to go. That is Professor Egad. He's the one who gives us the poltergust and has us help to capture all of the ghosts here. But it's a very wacky, kooky kind of game with like that N64 GameCube era kind of appeal to it. It's not the most complicated game in the world, but it's just the charm is through the roof. But it's, at the time, I think about how weird this game was for Nintendo at the time. Probably because they didn't have the Mario game, being Mario Sunshine, ready to go at launch. They were like, well, we need a Mario-themed game for launch, so I guess they ended up doing Luigi's Mansion, which I'm very curious to know the story of how this game came about. Like, I do want to know. I don't know exactly. I would like to know. But it's fun. The theming is really, really good. Even though it's like you're exploring this mansion, there's a bunch of different rooms, like, there's a lot of variety. You remember certain rooms, a lot of the different ghosts. There's different types of enemy ghosts that will have more health, which usually the health is like how long it takes to suck them into the vacuum. There's a counter that slowly ticks down. We'll get into that in a bit. But that's kind of what their health is like. Different ghosts have different levels of health, or I guess stamina more so. There are different types of boss ghosts that you can encounter in the game that all have different special abilities, and it's very puzzle-centric because a lot of especially the boss ghosts, rely on you doing certain things in order to trigger their kind of stun situation where they will be able to be actually sucked into the vacuum. It's almost like a puzzle based around like the room you're in, the environment. You can capture different, figure out different clues to help figure out how to stun those boss ghosts. But yeah, so we're just kind of going through the tutorial segments here. So we'll get into the actual legit gameplay here in a second. But they do a pretty good job. It's not a super long tutorial. They do a good job of introducing you. Because the control scheme is a little weird, to be honest, where like you hold down the trigger to suck them up, and then you have the left stick controlling Luigi and the right stick controlling the poltergust, so actually like changing the aim of it. And that can help determine, you know, how consistently you can suck up ghosts, especially because like if you don't turn your poltergust in the right direction when you're trying to suck up a ghost, it's possible that the ghosts freeze themselves, and then you have to go back and try to suck them up again. So it's definitely like you're using both sticks, almost like a twin stick shooter in a way, to be able to have the right trajectory to suck up ghosts. But you can see how I'm, like I said before, I'm stunning them with the flashlight. A lot of times I keep my flashlight off by default and then enable it when they're right in front of me, and then I can suck them up. Oh, now we got a group of them. Sometimes if you are lucky and you space it out right, you can actually suck up multiple ghosts at once. Let's see if I can do it here. Oh god. Yeah, like that. I just got a few at the same time. There we go. Definitely, I did not come across many scenarios. I'm not great at this game. I didn't come across a ton of scenarios where that happened. But, you know, there were moments where if I cornered a group of ghosts, I could suck up a bunch at once, which was really, really nice. We gotta go look for Mario. But yeah, so the whole point, we're exploring all these different rooms. It is one of those games that almost in a Metroidvania-like way, there are... I don't really want to go here, actually. This is where the ghosts that you get captured get stored. I'll check out in the spoiler section how many I got. What was I saying? I honestly don't remember. Oh, can I get out of here now? Let me out of here, bro. Bro, I want to leave. But yeah, so this is where all the ghosts will get captured. And as you play through the game, you'll be able to see them show up on the different paintings and stuff, which is really, really neat. Oh, like I was saying before, it's kind of almost like a Metroidvania in a way, where, not really, but there's a lot of backtracking involved. So like you'll be able to, it's your gold counter, I guess. You'll come across doors that you can't quite go through, and you'll need to find keys like way later on in the game and come back to that area. Thankfully, now with the Game Boy Horror we have, which obviously Game Boy Color pun is really nice, there is a map that is super easily accessible. And it's honestly a pretty solid map. It'll show you just all the different doorways you can go through, which is useful because there's a lot of fake doors in the mansion, and so I actually ran into that issue a couple times myself. It did mean I was opening up the map multiple different times. I kind of wish there was a separate like mini map somehow on the screen at all times, because there were a lot of times where I just open the map and close it, open and closed, which got a little tedious. But we're in like the basement, the gallery here, and there's a bunch of different floors. But also the Game Boy Horror can be used to, you can see it has this like camera mode, which is useful for figuring out certain hints. You can take pictures of like boss ghosts, and it'll give you like a slight hint as to maybe how to kind of suck them up into the vacuum, because it's not just like you go up to them and start using the vacuum. Like, it doesn't work like that. It's usually like a puzzle, like I said earlier. So there's different environmental factors that you have to consider with those. It can also be used to find certain secrets and stuff like that, which is kind of neat. All right, can I get out of here? Yes, I'm done. Let's get out of here. I honestly shouldn't have gone here in the first place. Let's go back to the mansion. Let's actually start some gameplay off. Thank you. So yeah, you can go back to the lab. Every so often you'll go back to the lab. especially after like certain story sequences. You can go to the gallery to be able to look at your collection of ghosts. You'll occasionally find toads in here that will help. They'll kind of give you little tidbits when you first find them, and then they will actually save for you, which is nice. I can create a little save file, which is super duper nice. Thank you, Toad. But yeah, this door we can't go through yet because it's blocked off by certain story segments. Oh, don't want to be there. Ah! Definitely don't want to do that. But yeah, now that we have the full set of equipment, we can actually explore here more. And so as you're going through this game, you'll see there's a bunch of locked doors. There's a bunch of rooms that you'll slowly explore. Like, you won't be able to access these all immediately. So there is some backtracking for sure. And what's neat about this game, too, is that it kind of gives me, like, Wario Land vibes, which I have played before, where you're collecting gold and money along the way, too. So, and I believe it's tied to your score at the end of the game. So you're also trying to, like, if you want to, obviously it's not mandatory, you can obtain a certain rank at the end of the game based on, I think, your time completion and how much money you've collected. And so, like, it's kind of a fun little side thing to do as well. So you can, like, tap on, like, desks and stuff, and, like, sometimes they'll give you hearts, some for extra health. Sometimes they'll give you money and stuff like that. This room is still dark, meaning that there is at least a ghost in here. And usually, like, you'll be able to clear out rooms, and the lights will usually turn on once you've collected or found all the ghosts. Maybe in here. No. Maybe there is no ghost in here. Okay, there we go. Sometimes it's tied to the candles. Yep. So there we go. Now we have this whole sequence where the ghosts are not going to be happy. So it's kind of fun. It's not super creepy. It's just, if you're a younger child playing this, maybe, but like, it really is just kind of like a charming little thing in that regard. I actually did find it quite difficult. Like I said earlier, I hinted at earlier, I'm not very good at this game, and so there were definitely moments where I just like struggled a lot and was pretty low on health. I think I only got a game over like once or twice. I didn't get a game over very often, but I was definitely low on health for a lot of the time. And so there were definitely moments like that where I definitely struggled and was like trying to like look for health around. Thankfully, there are a lot of these like red pods scattered around the mansion that a lot of times when you shake them will give you health. So that was pretty useful to have. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, talking about my thoughts overall in the game, I mean, it is fun to explore, even in 2025. This game is literally 25 years old, and I think it still holds up quite well. It's fun to explore, fun to get different keys and, like, unlock certain parts of the mansion. There were some bosses I liked better than others. There were some moments that I actually found a little frustrating in terms of the design. I actually had to use a guide a couple of different times to really figure out what to do. There were a couple of little cryptic moments like that I didn't love, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. And like I said, super duper charming. And the control scheme is very unique. Like, I've never played a game like this before. And I'm sure Luigi's Mansion 2 and 3 go on to iterate upon this design, but this is also like a really quick game. So especially now that it's on the Nintendo Switch Online service, it's great if you want to just like dive in and like try out Luigi's Mansion. If like me, you never played it before, it's actually, I think this is a really good opportunity to give it a shot, you know? So, you know, if you have that, might be time, you know? I might actually end up buying Luigi's Mansion 3 at this point, especially because I've heard that one's really good. And now that I've played the original and have enjoyed my time with it, maybe I'll check it out at some point, you know? So you can see there's different ghosts at different levels of health there. There we go, we got them. But yeah, so there's a bunch of different levels, a bunch of different room themes and stuff like that. You go outdoors at some points and go into the basement at other points and like on top of the roof. And it's like, it's not a huge mansion. Like I said, this game is not super long. I put maybe 10 hours into the game and like I explored pretty much everything I could. You know, honestly, it was a fun time. It was really unique, and I'm glad I finally got to check out this series. I would definitely recommend giving it a shot, especially, like I said, if you have the Nintendo Switch Online and, you know, you've never played Luigi's Mansion, I think this is the perfect one to start with. It still holds up to this day. And I think it's worth checking out, you know, with maybe a little bit of that old school, like, N64 GameCube jank from back then. But overall, I really enjoyed my time with the original Luigi's Mansion. definitely would give it a shot if you're at all curious. And especially for the, I know we're past Halloween 2025 now, but for future years or whatever you want, really. You want to enjoy a nice spooky game? I think this is a great one to try. So definitely would recommend it if you have not played Luigi's Mansion before. Maybe if you've played some of the newer ones, this might feel a little more outdated. But if you're like me and have never played any of them, I think it's a good one to start with. So that's going to do it for the Like to Know spoiler section of this review. I don't imagine I'm going to spend too much time with spoilers here, but I will just leave a spoiler warning here. I'm going to talk about some of the later bosses, the final boss, all the collectibles I got later on. So definitely click away if you are planning to play this game at all. I'm going to spoil it in just a few seconds here. All right. Let me dive into my other save file. Like I said, I don't think I have much I want to talk about regarding spoilers. I can briefly mention what I've done. Oh, there's a... What is the hidden mansion? Whatever that is, I did not do it. Interesting. I wonder if it's just like a harder version of the mansion. Oh, wait. Why? Did it just reset my game? I was hoping to see my collection. Interesting. Well, I got all the boos. I don't know if the boos are mandatory for... Did I overwrite it by accident? I wonder if I overwrote it by accident. Or it just starts you off in a brand new game. Either way, I had gotten all 50 boos. I ended up just beating the main final boss of the game. Well, I guess there's not really much else to explore then. Okay. Let me see what this hidden mansion is about, maybe. I wonder if this is like a more difficult version, maybe. That must be what this is. But yeah, it's honestly, I liked it a lot. Certain bosses I liked more than others. The baby was fun. I know the baby's a classic. The one with the well, that was the baby. There was another one. I'm trying to remember. It's been a little bit since I played it last. I will say the final boss I found a little janky. I didn't love. I mean, I love the idea that it was like King Boo was possessing Bowser and all that. Like, that was really fun. But I didn't like love a lot. Like, it just felt a little off. Like, some of the hitboxes were a little strange. I chalked that just up to being an older game. But it was kind of a fun time. It was charming. It was a really charming game. I don't know, I enjoyed just playing it. A lot of the bosses were very fun. Some of them were a little annoying. There was the big guy who was like constantly eating the food, who like for some reason, like I swear I was using the poltergeist to suck up all the food, and it just like wasn't working. I guess it just wasn't doing it for long enough, because you really have to hold it down for a while in order to suck up all of his food, and then he enters his stun animation. And so for the longest time, I had no idea how to do it. And then I was like, wait, what? The other thing I had an issue with that I needed a guide for was actually in the graveyard. I had no idea that you had to use the Game Boy Horror to take a picture of the doghouse after you suck up the dog ghost, and then it warps you into the grid. Like, I had no idea. Like, how was I supposed to know that? I knew it was, like, glittering, but I was like, I don't know. In my mind, I didn't connect that I needed to use the Game Boy Horror to take a picture of that to enable that. It was kind of a little weird to me. So there were a few moments like that that were a little frustrating and a little, like, I don't know. I got a little stuck. But, like, overall, it was a pretty fun experience. I appreciate that it's so short. Like, it was short, but it felt, like, significant. Like, it was still a fun time to go through. And this, I could see this being a game that I could easily go back to and replay for, like, the Halloween time of the year. And so, like, I don't know. It's a fun one to explore. But interesting. It looks like... so I beat the game, but it looks like I reset my progress because I beat the game. Although they said this was a hidden mansion, so I'm thinking it's probably like a more difficult version of the already existing mansion. So probably like a new game plus fight, I guess. And definitely let me know. Well, actually don't. Let me know in the comments below. I don't want to spoil anybody. But yeah, no, I mean, the mechanics were really fun. The different types of enemy ghosts were really fun. There were some moments that were a little bit much. And I definitely would like get cornered by ghosts, and that could be a little frustrating, especially some of the later rooms. Those little ghosts that were like the spiky dudes or like the electric dudes that like blew up, I hated those ones. Those were probably my least favorite ones. They only showed up a couple times in the game, but they were always like blocking doorways, and I hated that. They were so tough to get rid of. Or the ones that drop from the ceiling and throw bombs at you. I didn't love those either. But the bosses were fun. The final boss is a little janky, but still a fun idea. And yeah, I don't know, the idea of collecting gold as well alongside of it, and like sucking up all the booze could be frustrating, especially the later ones that had like 300 stamina and they would like go between rooms. and I just wasn't very good at keeping a hold on them. But they were still fun to like at least like capture and get that way. I do not know if it was mandatory to get all 50 boos. Maybe that's how you get the best ending, or maybe it's mandatory. I really don't know exactly, but I guess there's really not much else to explore here, considering I have to start from the ground up. But I mean, I enjoyed my time with it. I guess just to summarize this review, as a new Luigi's Mansion player, I actually really enjoyed my time here. There's a few things that I think are a little outdated, a little janky with this original version that I'm sure like the sequels clean up. But if you're like me, have never played Luigi's Mansion, you have a Switch 2 with Nintendo Switch Online, might be worth giving this a shot. Like I said, it's maybe like, if you go after everything that I did, it took me like 10 hours, like not that long. And it's like a nice little kind of piecemeal experience, and honestly really it doesn't overstay its welcome for sure, and there's a good amount of variety here to make it a really fun and charming time. So I really enjoyed my time with this one. I'm glad I can finally check out Luigi's big solo outing and get to see what the series is all about, and maybe I'll pick up 2 and 3 someday. At this point, who knows, probably 3 if anything. But definitely was a fun time. It definitely could be a little outdated, so as long as you're like, I mean, if you have nostalgia for the GameCube era and you haven't played this, do yourself a favor and check it out. But yeah, really fun time. Definitely it's not too scary. It's just a little spooky in a fun way. So definitely would recommend it. But with that, that's going to do it for this review of the original Luigi's Mansion. Reminder that I played this on the Switch 2 via the GameCube Nintendo Switch Online. Just a little caveat there. But let me know your thoughts on this game, non-spoiler thoughts, in the comments below. Have you played this game? Do you like it? Do you not? Have you played the other games in the series before, and what do you think about those in comparison? Did you enjoy the spooky season this year? Definitely let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all on the next video or live stream, and until then, stay spooky.